Hello my friends, welcome to my new video. Today I will share with you my overall feelings, how the environment changed in the grocery stores, in the streets and in the malls. But first I have to share some update with you because I've been getting a lot of questions where I am now. Some people think that I'm already out of Russia, but the thing is that I'm still in Russia and I'm still here, but the process is going on. I came to Moscow. I'm in Moscow now, as you can see. But this video is not going to be about Moscow. That's what I wanted to say. Let's begin. Probably the first obvious thing to talk about is the prices. Everything became expensive and Russian people really feel it. Although I don't really know how much time will it take for people to understand that something is wrong. Probably the process has already started because the recent social polls show that the majority of people are tired of this special military operation because it took too long. One of the usual things that existed in the life of every person is probably usual drinks like Coke, and we can see that in some stores Coke is still sold in the bottles. There are different tastes of it even, and it's fine. But what I noticed that in some fast food chains there is no Coke in the cups, only Coke in the bottles. We can explain it by the fact that Coke sold in the cups is sold in kind of syrup, and the syrup is already not supplied to this chain. Another thing about Cokes is that in these fast food restaurants now it's being replaced with the Russian replacement called Chernogolovka, and it's funny that this lemonade is called cola, which is the Russian word for Coke. I tried it and actually it tastes kind of like Coke, a little bit different. Also, it's funny that some soft drink producers naming their drinks with the word cola or Coke in it. Like this one, DV Cola. I guess DV stands for Дальний Восток, the Far East, so it's kind of like patriotic cola for the Far East. Yeah, it's just a little detail. You might be thinking like, why you're even discussing this? The point of this video is just to notice some little details of our life. Another thing that you can notice in the grocery store is that a lot of drink brands don't have dye for their packages. You can see that some of the packages are dyed with green, but some of them white. They don't have the color for it. It also can be seen in the new Russian McDonald's, the Tasty period that you might have seen in one of my previous videos. The package for the French fries also doesn't have any color. Obviously, it is because they have some interruptions in the logistics. It refers not only to these products, but like to any industry in Russia, like electric chips, even details for cars, airplanes, and so on. Another thing I found in the grocery store is some weird word on the packaging. So I was buying pelmeni. There was a phrase made of Russian meat. And in addition to that, in the recent week and months, I've seen a lot of slogans related to the replacement of Western goods with Russian goods. For example, I heard advertisement of some cheese on the radio, and in the end of the ad, they said, "This is our Russian cheese." And I noticed that they didn't used to talk like this before, because in Russia, in the recent 20 years, something made in Europe was considered cool. We even have a word Euro-remont, European renovation. So if a Russian apartment has European style renovation, it means that it's good compared to the old renovation, which is not really fancy. I've seen this a lot in the marketing for the Russian products. But now I see the opposite process, and they are trying to attract people with appealing to patriotism and like local goods. So returning to the dumplings, this phrase made with Russian meat, I had some weird thoughts because it reminded me of the phrase cannon meats. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know, maybe it's only me. I don't know if other people notice it. And it's a very difficult question if you ask me, how many people support the special military operation, because we cannot really trust the social polls. These polls are completely fake, dependent on the government. I personally don't believe that too many people support it. But still, you can see that some people are wearing Z letter, the symbol that the Russian government took as a symbol of their special military operation. A really dumb decision. I don't know why they took a letter from Latin alphabet, not cohesive with the Russian Cyrillic alphabet. It's really weird. Some families even dress their kids in these Z clothes. I'm so embarrassed for that people. I don't know why they're doing this. Another thing that I noticed in the malls is how they covered the Instagram logo. And here, by the new Russian law, I have to say that Meta is considered an extremist organization. And it's literally a criminal case if I don't say this. By the way, you can follow me on the Instagram. You're really welcome there. There is a new mall that opened in Khabarovsk, and you can see like the name of this mall and something else, and you're like, what is this? But they had to cover it with just some piece of white thing, and it's just so hilarious to see it. I'm so sorry for the owner of this mall. This mall opened like 1 month ago, and they're like, damn, we just opened and now we have to do something about it. Just hilarious. If you watched one of my previous videos about Vladivostok, there I showed how they covered this logo on some pin. And it happens in many other places. As you know, McDonald's was renamed to Вкусная точка, Tasty period. Instead of changing the whole board, they just sticked the logo of the new Вкусная и точка restaurant. They just didn't bother, they just covered it. And once again, it is a very small detail, but still, when you see so many of such things and you're like, am I living in a simulation? Like, what is this? The last thing, but very important one, is what you see in the streets. I already told about graffitis. I like street art. I like to read words in the street. And graffiti is believed to be like the people's art. You can see a lot of anti-war graffitis in the Russian cities. Of course, they're being covered, but some of them stays. And I think that when people cannot speak publicly online about what they feel, then the walls start talking and people have to write on the walls. And this is still really dangerous. And this is where you can compare this true people's will with what the government imposes into our minds. And I'm talking about the billboards. And when you see them, you feel so hopeless. And this is one of the instruments that the authoritarian regimes use. They want to make people like myself to feel that I'm alone in my beliefs, and look, like everybody around me and the government are supporting this Z billboard. But I know that it's not true, because once you start to talk to people, of course privately, you know that this person is against the special military operation, that person. You can know it only from like conversations with people, and that's why you're like, wow, I'm not alone, and it really gives me hope. I'm sane. I'm thinking in the right direction. So speaking of billboards, on the central square of Khabarovsk, there is like a screen that is changing different ads. There is one that is inviting Russian men to join the military, and there they offer some advantages like free medical care, some kind of salary every month. For me, it doesn't look really appealing, but you know, for people who live in very poor conditions and earn like $200 per month, for them it is the social lift. And when I saw that billboard, I was like, why it is there? I don't want to see that. I'm just walking here. That billboard actually reminded me of some other situation. So more than 1 year ago in Khabarovsk and in many other Russian cities, there were protests about arrest of Navalny. You know, Navalny was arrested. They tried to poison him. So I went to that protest. People were chanting different words there. There were many people. And also it happened that Putin was given a speech on TV that day. So What the Khabarovsk authorities did, they turned on that screen just amongst our rally, and it felt so surreal, and I felt so hopeless. It's like the big brother is watching you, and we cannot do anything about this. There also was the riot police, very intimidating. I took selfies with them. I mean, that day was crazy, and that's what I remembered when I saw that billboard. But since now I am in Moscow, maybe you expect me to say that in Moscow it's different, it's only the remote Russian districts and regions that display a lot of Z letters. Well, kinda. I have not seen any single Z billboard in Moscow. No, actually I did. In the metro and in the streets, you still can see this military Z vibe even in Moscow, because yesterday I went to the Red Square, and just amidst this very important historical place, there was some freaking cube-shaped stand with children's drawings with the military theme, a lot of Z letters and slogans like "We will win, our army is the strongest, we will go till the end." I was just so literally disgusted, physically sick because of seeing that. Also, as happens really often, the part of the Red Square was surrounded by a fence, and they had some kind of military parade rehearsal. I don't know what was that, and the police was checking your bags before entering the Red Square, so I felt really uncomfortable. So in this video I wanted to share how the atmosphere around me changed, and this is what I have seen since the 24th of February. I'm already used to it. I'm not that paranoid as I was probably in March, in April. And once again, I want to announce that I'm fine, I'm safe, I hope so. Wait for my next updates. There will be still some videos from Russia, but soon there will be some news and some new videos. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye. Пока-пока.